Hey, Isaiah, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you and learn a little bit more about you. Could you share briefly a little bit about your background?
I'm a Division I student athlete at UAB. I play football. I'm a servant within the community. I serve nonprofits like Bundles of Joy, Diaper Bank. I serve homeless. Something that I do as part is my tithing. I give 10% of my stipend check to my teammates, and I help purchase Bibles for them to help them grow closer to God. But I'm grateful to be here and to talk more to you.
Awesome. Thank you. So UAB is University of Alabama Birmingham. Is that right? Yeah. And what's your position on the football team?
I play running back.
Awesome. There's a lot of things that I want to chat with you about today, but I'll start first with, how did you first fall in love with your sport, with football?
I think I first fell in love with football once I realized how many people I can serve. And that's currently what I'm doing now, and the reason why I'm still a Division I student athlete. I realized that I can use my platform to reach a lot of people and serve them. And God willingly, if I do make it to the NFL, it would just give me a bigger platform to serve others.
Awesome. And I've seen you've been very involved in your community. You mentioned a few things that you've been involved in. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and about sort of how your faith has influenced you?
Yeah, no doubt. We have a mentor named Joey Roberts. He helps us with these different service opportunities. Recently, we were just at the Children's of Harbor in a Smile a Mile. It's a nonprofit organization that helps it's children that's dealing with cancer and things of that nature. So we get to spend quality times with those kids, interact with them with like games like bingo, eat with them, and it's just very inspirational to see like that we think that we face hard challenges in life. We think we face adversity, and then you see a kid who's, facing extreme measures like that and just filled with joy. It's so fulfilling.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about your own childhood and upbringing, was there a moment in time where you knew you wanted to play football at the collegiate level?
No, not at all. When I was a child, our biggest focus was surviving. We definitely grew up pretty rough, and making it that far in life didn't really seem like something that was obtainable or achievable.
So you're at UAB now, but you grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Is that right?
Correct. Home of the original Black Wall Street, 1921 race riot.
Can you say more about your childhood and your upbringing?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in a house of five. My father, my sister, and my two brothers. We started off at a young age with both parents. We ended up splitting up at a young age. We went with my mother. My father was still involved. He still helped us in terms of like money and things of that nature. We struggled at a young age. We had to steal for food to survive. We used to be given MREs from Salvation Army food, and we used to have to eat those cold. Sometimes we would sleep on a cold garage floor, and we would walk miles to school at an early age, elementary level. It transitioned from my father taking us. We went with my father. We slept in a 2-bedroom apartment. No utilities. There's usually maybe one utility on at a time. And in the midst of all of that, he was still making sure we were in school, doing good grades, and playing sports. Mm-hmm. So football was more so like an escape during that time. Transition from there, we slept in a Ford Taurus Burgundy car. Outside of hotels and motels, we lived in it. And then the story continues from there. So football has always been very impactful in our life because it kept us away from reality.
Mm-hmm. It was an escape.
No doubt.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being so vulnerable. I think that's one of the things that I, really noticed, like when we first met at AthleteCon, was just your vulnerability, and that you were able to share your story with myself and others. And it was the first time that we had met, and yet you were able to kind of go so deep and share, and that really had an impact on me. Thank you.
Welcome.
So football was an escape. So you were playing football. Were you always playing running back, or did you try different
No, I actually
positions?
play every position.
Okay.
Like I play center, like nose guard, like lineman positions. Growing up, I actually wanted to be a quarterback growing up. And then towards like middle school, I transitioned to running back. But growing up, we played almost every sport that was free, or every sport that a coach they were able to help us, become like acclimated within the sport. Like we played.
So what were the other sports?
Just football, baseball, soccer.
Okay.
I tried track and field for a little bit. Didn't last too long.
So you wound up finding the best fit with football.
Well, I love basketball. It was my first love for the longest. During a period in high school around my sophomore year, I ended up having heart surgery. So when I came back from that, I transitioned because I realized I only had 2 more years in high school, and I decided to lock in and focus on something that could potentially get me to the next level. And around my junior year, I started to see a lot of success.
Heart surgery in high school. That's not something a lot of people experience.
It's true.
I have a couple other questions for you, so I'll switch gears a little bit. What impact does social media have on your mental health?
It actually has a great impact. And the reason for it is because growing up, when you're dealing with so much adversity so early, I'm at a point now where I'm very stoic, and I'm filled with extreme optimism in the face of adversity now. And so through social media, I can tell a story. Through social media, I can impact other people's lives further than just my surrounding areas. And so I have the chance to, through a camera, impact or possibly save somebody's life based off an experience and based off of them showing them the success and me being able to triumph over those obstacles.
So in general, you're using social media to have a positive impact on others. Have you found, does it have an impact on you when you're consuming social media or scrolling, or?
I try not to scroll too much and try not to spend too much idle time on it. When I'm on there, it's more so me trying to build a brand, me trying to spread the social awareness of me doing good deeds within the community and my teammates as well, so that other people can be impacted by it.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I really appreciate what you've posted, sharing about what you're doing in the community, some of the things that you were mentioning. And it's cool for people, not just in Birmingham to see that, but more broadly, as you're mentioning as well, making a broader impact. So I saw that you posted something around, if you fall 7 times, get back up 8 times. What does that mean to you?
Life throws punches. We all face different struggles, whether you grew up like me, someone who had to sleep in a car, sleep in hotels, sleep in motels, or if you grew up financially stable. We all face struggles at some point in our life. And at the end of the day, it's not how it affects you, but how you respond to it. And so I've been through a lot of adversity through sports and life, and every single time have been able to bounce back from it with a growth mindset and a positive mindset, and being able to point thumbs and not fingers.
I also see that you have a couple of tattoos.
Correct.
Here on your right arm as well. Do you know how many you have?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not, unfortunately.
Do you remember what age were you the first time you got one?
I believe I was a freshman in high school when I got this.
Okay.
Yeah, freshman or sophomore.
Okay. And then on your right arm, can you show that one a little bit? And
yes.
Can you share more about that one?
Yeah, so I didn't finish it yet, but it's Jesus, and it will be the full picture will be when he was pulling Peter out the water, and I think it's a visual representation of how he pulled me out the water.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah, so I believe, growing up when you're facing, again, all these problems and things of that nature, your mind can get clouded with a way of life is supposed to be. You can kind of get separated from the truth. And I believe Jesus is my truth. And so he was able to take somebody who is unworthy, a sinner, somebody where a lot of people would turn their head away from. He was able to take me and pull me from the water and allow me to, through me, to serve others that may or may not look like me.
Can you share a little bit more about when you were in high school and you had to have heart surgery? That sounds very profound. Like how did that come about and how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I actually was at a basketball court. We were playing basketball. I remember seeing like white and purple dots. I went home and I told my dad, because he actually has heart issues and stuff. And I was like, they were joking and they thought I was like playing and stuff. And then after like a few minutes passed, I started laughing. I smiled. I said, it feels like I'm about to die. And then, he kind of just looked and, was laughing a little bit. And I was like, no, it feels like I'm about to die. And then we ended up going to urgent care, I believe. And when we went to the urgent care, they rushed me to the ER. And then they prepped me. And then the next day, I believe, I got surgery.
What did the doctors tell you? Like, did they know?
It was Wolff Parkinson White. So basically, it was an extra pathway within my heart.
Okay.
So they had to go through my groin up to it and remove it.
Mm-hmm. And then post-surgery, they gave you some subsequent checkups to see if you had like rehabilitated?
Yeah, so what they did was I believe they gave me a heart monitor.
Okay.
And so I had to sit out for about a week, I believe a week or two. And then I was able to go back into sports. And then, it never came back since then.
Do you have to go back to a cardiologist every now and then? No. Okay. So I have a couple questions here related to music. I'll just start with this one. What's your favorite song? What's a song that you enjoy listening to?
Music that I used to listen to, I would say that it's two different songs. From a Christian song, it's Oceans, which you probably heard of. And for our RBN song, it's Silk. It's a group called Silk, and it's called Lose Control.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check those out.
Mm.
Okay. So I also understand that, in addition to being a student athlete, you're also involved in one or more businesses as well. And I heard about NAWF. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so North Star. So like I said, I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, home of the original Black Wall Street, 1921 race riot / race massacre. I grew up in North Tulsa, where that beautiful community once thrived. So North is another way of saying North. North meaning noble, abundant, wealth, fortune. Success, triumph, essential, renewal. That's what North Star means. So basically, it's a clothing brand that I'm trying to scale up this year and the following years to come. And so that's basically what North Star is.
So NAWF, and that's how people can find out more.
Yes, NorthStar.com.
.com. Awesome. Okay, so you are a student and student athlete, and you have a business, and you're serving your community. How do you manage all of that?
I believe that I manage it with God, and I believe He's the source of all things that I do. And just not allowing my free time to be idle with it, but to be diligent with my hands. Just because as I seek Him, He says, those who are diligent with their hands will bring forth wealth, and those who are lazy will bring forth poverty. So in my free time, I try to spend my time doing something that can help me grow so that I can be able to serve others. I'm always looking for ways to better myself outside of football so that I can continue to make an impact within my community.
It sounds like faith is a huge part of your life.
Correct.
Has it always been that way, or has there kind of been an evolution over time?
It's been an evolution over time. When you're growing up in such extreme conditions, you kind of lose sight of who God is. Because, if you lack the visual representation of how God loves within your household and who God is, you may not understand why you're going through the things you're going through. But then when you understand who God is and you seek Him and you understand that He says, I would never leave you nor forsake you, you almost wish that your life could have been even harder because you know that he will get you through those problems.
So the suffering
produces endurance. Endurance produces character. Character produces hope.
Thank you for that. So Isaiah, if you could say anything to your, younger self as like a kid growing up in these different situations that seemed pretty intense, what words would you say to the younger version of you?
To learn how to love yourself. Yeah. Because once you can figure out how to love yourself and once you can heal from pain and trauma, you can love others. And I believe Jesus loved all walks of life, no matter how they look, no matter where they came from. And just going into that, we actually did a thing. Buffalo Wild Wings had a $20 all-you-can-eat about a couple months ago. And first thing, light bulb that came in my head was, well, how many homeless can we feed? And it's a guy named Brian. He's a homeless guy. He's on my route every time I go home. And Joy Roberts reached out to a person over a nonprofit organization, and she was able to send some homeless over. And I sat down and I ate with them, and we prayed. And, for them, it's more so, a lot of people can give you money, can give you food, but no one's willing to see them as humans and to be able to sit down with them and actually have a meal with them. And if we can just learn to love like Jesus would love, I think the world would be a better place.
What was that dinner like? What was the experience like?
It was good. I actually, like I said, just go back to even with the Children's Harper thing, like you think that you're inspiring them when they really inspire you. So like I needed it more than they needed it, and, being there in that environment, you had a guy who was just filled with the Holy Spirit. He knew every scripture in the Bible like the back of his hand. He was filled with joy, even though he was homeless. He didn't have anything. And he was just prophesizing things while we were there. So it was a great experience to be able to connect with people.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions for you kind of related to music. And this is to be a kind of like a lightning round thing, but it can also be different. So when it's game day and you have a football game, what's your go-to game day song?
I don't really have a game day song, but this year, I believe I'm going to focus on more of like meditation or prayer. I might even try like white noises and things of that nature, things that can calm my heart rate down, just because of the simple fact that, when you're in an experience like that with thousands of people coming to watch you, your heart rate definitely races. You get a lot of adrenaline rushing. So things that can calm me.
What song would you play or listen to when you are needing comfort?
Most likely gospel music, no doubt.
If there was a song, what song would you use to describe your childhood and youth?
That'd be a hard one.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
What's something you're aspiring towards in the longer term?
I'm aspiring to leave an inheritance for my children's children.
For your grandchildren?
No doubt. And inheritance, not necessarily monetary value, but wisdom, knowledge, skill sets, things that they can apply to the world to make it a better place.
That sounds like a really noble endeavor. I'm sure you will achieve it. So I like to ask the questions around music because that's a part of our product experience at MascotYouAi. What is your favorite type of music and why?
I actually don't have a favorite type of music. I think that I do enjoy music that has a significant message to it in a positive light.
And you like gospel music?
I do.
Yeah.
I do not have a specific favorite, though.
Okay. A specific genre? Like, no? Okay.
If they're worshiping and praising the Lord, I'm there.
Okay. Like everything you shared it's so much like intensity. It's so heavy, like your youth growing up. And then when you're in high school and you had heart surgery. Do you think those experiences then make you appreciate things in a different way? now. Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely become filled with gratitude. You become grateful. You become very intentional with how you speak to people, how you treat people, how you approach different situations. Because you realize that I am here for something bigger than myself. Yes, I may have aspirations and I may have goals of things that I want to reach, but the only way that I can get there is with someone else. And the only way I can get somebody else there is by helping them. I actually was talking to a couple of teammates last week and just really voicing them like, do y'all understand that we're doing life together? Like right now, like we spend majority of our time together. God forbid, one of us pass. But right now in this moment, we get to spend life with each other.
How did they respond?
For some of them, they sat there and for a moment you can feel like, yeah, you're right, bro. Like, at any moment, we can go because he said your days are numbered. And so it's very important when you know that to be very intentional and be where your feet are.
I like that a lot. The future is unknown, but we have like this present moment. We can make the most of this present moment. We can make an impact in this present moment.
No doubt. Because it's bigger than yourself. And you'll be surprised at how many people can relate to your story or how your story can impact their life. For example, I remember being in high school, actually, let me go back a little bit. For example, I remember as a child, you're not eating, but then you still have to go to school. You still have to go to practice. You still have to be a leader. You still have to have a smile on your face, right? And then transitioning to high school, it was the same situation. This one morning, I was going through something very significant. I was going through so much trauma, friends dying, going to jail, and losing people around me that I asked God if he could take my life. And I prayed to God. And in the midst of praying to God, I remember a curtain shooting down, my window curtain. I jumped, I got into bed, I went to sleep. The next morning, I remember having an altercation with one of my family members. And I continued to go to school. And during school, usually when you're going through so much trauma growing up in your life, it's almost as if every turn is bad, if every turn is negative. So you're kind of surprised when good things go your way. So I was late to school. The teacher was okay with it. I was like, oh, it's a new day. I continued throughout the day. And after practice, I was always a student who would stay a couple hours, 3 hours after, and would work out and lift. And I remember this day specifically. It was around 20 degrees outside, icy roads, snowing. And due to that altercation that morning, my mother didn't pick me up that day. She sent her mother to pick me up. And as she picked me up, we were on the highway. I remember waking up and we were sliding. And in the midst of us sliding, I couldn't think of a specific prayer. I couldn't think of, anyone. All I could think of is, this is my last time being here. And the car flipped. As the car flipped, I remember seeing the front of the road and blacking out, hit my head on the right side window, passenger side, and I blacked out. As I got up and my vision was blurred, I see the front window shield shattered, cracked. I see tires in front of me, and I look to my left, and my grandmother wasn't in the driver's seat. I immediately started to panic. I opened the door. I see her laying in the ditch. I see a satchel that she has on the side of her hip with baby pictures of us laying on the ground. And I remember screaming, "Grandma, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up." And I sat there and I dropped to my knees and I was full of tears. I seen about 7 different cars stopped and the people all came around her. They put blankets over her to cover her up, being mindful it was 20 degrees outside. And she was not breathing. The ambulance came, the fire department came, and a lady started praying. She started praying and still not breathing. The fire department and the ambulance people are asking, well, how fast y'all going? We had to be going 35 miles, 40 miles as I'm crying. And the lady behind us was like, no, you guys are going 20 miles because we were only going 25 miles per hour. Oh, okay. Well, how many times did you guys flip? Oh, we flipped one time. No, you guys flipped 3 times. And in the midst of us talking, the lady was still praying, and the people started to gather around my grandmother. She took her first breath. And then we rushed her to the hospital, and she ended up having problems with her ribs. She got cleared from the hospital later that day, and she survived, and she was okay. But it's interesting how many situations that I've been in where God had to specifically show me that it's bigger than you and that your life has a purpose. I was selfish and I prayed for God to take my life. We flipped 3 times and I didn't have a scratch. But yet it showed me if he was to take my life or if I was to take my own life, how it would affect the ones I love around me.
Mm-hmm. What did you think when you saw the pictures?
It was kind of like a movie scene, because in the movie scenes where you would see explosions, you would see a car wreck, and it's just like it's like the screeching in the ears, and it's like the blurred vision, it's things of that nature. It's the best thing that I can subscribe it. So,
how do you think? How did you withstand all of these different intense situations as you were growing up?
Again, God. And the thing, in the early realization that it's bigger than me, that next day I actually was at practice.
The next day?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I realized I'm a leader within my team. And when I showed up to practice that next day, a day after that, a kid came up to me. He was crying. His mother had just committed suicide and overdose on drugs. And he said he was crying, and he said, Isaiah, I was going to kill myself, but you showed up to practice the next day after your grandmother, and it gave me the strength to live. So early, I realized how impactful it can be.
So you had a profound impact on him. Yeah. What did you think when you saw like the pictures that your grandma had of you and your siblings? When after you talked about the car flipping over, I think you mentioned.
I think it becomes just kind of like a replaying image, in your head during that time frame of, you almost kind of feeling as if, she went through that because of what I spoke. I'm a firm believer of, life and death is spoken in the power of the tongue. And those who speak life will bear its fruits. And I didn't speak life. But yeah, God is a merciful and graceful God. And I'm blessed that he was able to continue to have me here.
To continue to make an impact on everyone that you're making an impact on.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's so intense. Thank you for everything you shared. So when you imagine your future, what does it look like to you?
It looks like a place of serving and of love, of joy, of peace. It looks like a place of community with others, all trying to pursue the same missions, the same goals and aspirations.
What kind of goals and aspirations?
Goals that involve healing, that involves growth, that involves serving.
I want to be a part of that. Keep me posted on everything you're doing.
And that's the goal right now. I've had a talk with a few owners and, owner and definitely the property managers at my apartment building. Just trying to create a community gathering of people of all walks of life to be able to host food, even if I got to come out of my own pocket and just be able to feed everyone. And, you know, to be able to talk, not only talk about God, but to also be able to just interact with people. You know, this is something that'll be free, and it'll be genuine interactions. It's not a, hey, this is God and this is who you can believe in type of environment. It's more so of, hey, I don't know you, I love you, and I want the best for you, and I want you here.
For college students and non-college students?
Yes,
Student athletes and non-student
all
athletes?
walks of life. College or not.
And you think this will be sometime this year?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah, keep me posted on that.
No doubt.
This was awesome. Isaiah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything you shared with us. I think there's so much that I've learned just from interacting with you. So thank you for everything you shared. I think we didn't get deep on the Tulsa history, which you kind of touched on, but I think that's definitely something for myself and others to like learn more about. So I'll be doing that. And I know you shared a little bit about that when we met in Charlotte, North Carolina. So really, thank you so much for everything you shared. It's been really great learning more about you, and look forward to the future to seeing all the great things you're doing, all the ways that you're making an impact in your community.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very grateful and very blessed to be here, to be able to spread this message. So thank you.
Yeah, our pleasure.